main character, Lore, is bi, but her and Josephine, the way that she talks about her, oh my gosh. I have some exciting book mail. The thing that I'm really struggling with today is this new cozy game called Fae Farm came out. Hello, my gorgeous reading angel bestie queens. I hope that you're having the most wonderful day of your entire stinking life. Welcome or welcome back to my channel. My name is Tori if you're new. Welcome to a weekly reading vlog. It's currently Monday, and I think this week we are going to focus on reading some YA fantasy because I have a bunch of YA fantasy that's on my TBR. I'm currently listening to an audiobook that's YA, so I thought it would be perfect to just continue on with the trend. And let's talk about my TBR for this week. I'm currently listening to an audiobook, and that is I Feed Her to the Beast and the Beast is Me. It's by Jamison Shea. The cover of this is so stunning. I saw it in Barnes & Noble last week when I went book shopping, and I'm really kicking myself for not purchasing it because it's so gorgeous. As I get into reading updates, I'll give you a summary of the book. That way we can just go through the TBR for right now. Next up on this weekly TBR is Zara, and this is by S.J. Jones. This book I think just got released in August. It is a YA fantasy romance that I've heard is inspired by Sailor Moon. I don't think I need to say anything else. It's beautiful. First of all, the book is stinking beautiful. We love her, and I can't wait to read her. And then the last two books that I have, this might be ambitious. I don't know that I'm gonna get to both of these this week, but at the very least one of them. I have Vicious and Vengeful. I will definitely be able to finish Vicious. If I can get to Vengeful or at least start it, that would be absolutely ideal. So I will catch up with y'all with my first reading update in a little bit. Hi besties. Okay, so first reading update. I am almost at the halfway point for I Feed Her to the Beast and the Beast is Me. We need to talk about how freaking stunning this book is. It just came out August 29th. I started listening to it actually a couple days ago because I checked on Libby to see if the book was available. Like I mentioned, I saw this book at Barnes & Noble and I didn't purchase it because I was like, I'm not sure if I'm gonna like it. Our main character, and gosh, I forget how to say her name. Everything is very French in this book because our setting is Paris. Our main character is in the elite and cutthroat world of the Parisian ballet. Her name is Laure? Something like that. Laure. We're gonna go with it.
If I'm saying it wrong, which I probably am, please just don't mind me.
But she will do anything to prove that a black girl can take center stage at the Parisian ballet and absolutely thrive, and also she crushes it. Like, I love her so much. This is a villain origin story, and it is extremely grotesque. So if you loved Black Swan, you will love this book. It's definitely creepy, cutthroat, absolutely gory in the descriptions of certain things. Our main character ventures into the deep depths of the Parisian catacombs and strikes a deal with a pulsating river of blood. She gets access to this primordial power, which helps her gain promise, influence, adoration, everything that she's worked so hard to achieve. She kind of did this because she felt like she was at a severe disadvantage. The Parisian ballet world is extremely political for elitists. Our girly pop came from nothing. And so she gains an advantage over others with this creepy, crazy power. It honestly is giving Deal with the Devil vibes. Author's note in the beginning of this book is so powerful. She gives you a bunch of trigger warnings because there is like self-mutilation in this because she goes down to this bloody river and like sacrifices her blood and things like that. There is kind of a murder mystery that's taking place as well, which is just stunning. And it's LGBTQ+. I think our main character, Lore, is bi, but her and Josephine, the way that she talks about her, oh my gosh. This whole book takes place in Lore's POV, and I love it. I'm obsessed with her. She already is extremely morally gray as a character. I can't wait to see how she turns into just an absolute villain. It's stunning. Good morning, friends. Happy Tuesday. I wanted to give a brief update on Zara because I am 50 pages in. I'm on chapter 6 now. I read this a little bit last night and this morning. I just wanted to confirm it's absolutely giving Sailor Moon vibes so far. If you are familiar with that anime, is it a cartoon or an anime? I feel like it kind of borders on both. It's probably an anime. If you're familiar with it, you know that our main character, who was Sailor Moon, she was really lazy. Like, that was one of her character traits, and it was super over-exaggerated because in animes, they super over-exaggerate specific characteristics. She's definitely not lazy, but she is clumsy. She's constantly like dropping things, spilling things, tripping over herself, and it's so charming and I love her so much. So our main character is Zara. She takes care of her blind stepsister and she lives with her stepmother, who they're nice to her, but it's very much that step-daughter dynamic between her and her stepmom. Zara has magic, and magic in this world is prosecuted. There was a war a long time ago where the ruling class decided to persecute and kill anyone who knowingly had magic. So now there are these now there are these people who are in hiding and they're trying to suppress their magical abilities, but we've met a couple of them at this point, and Zara being one of them. When we catch up with her, she's on her way to work and she learns that the soldiers that hunt down magicians are back in her city because there are rumors that magic is starting to become stronger and they're trying to suppress it, shut it down. It's been a while since I've been in a YA mood, but this week in particular is all YA books and I'm really loving it so much. That being said, I'm planning on listening to more of I Feed the Beast and the Beast is Me while I'm working. I have a couple meetings, but in between I should be able to get a good portion of it read. I don't know that I'll be able to finish it, but probably close to, and I'll give another update later today. I also have some exciting book mail that's coming in today, so when that arrives, I'm hoping to open it with y'all as well. Good morning, besties. I don't have a reading update for you quite yet. I did listen to a good portion more of I Feed Her to the Beast and the Beast is Me. I'm gonna finish it today, so I'm gonna wait to do my reading update until I finish. And then I have also read more of Zara, but I want to read a little bit more before I update you. I have some exciting book mail that I wanted to open with you guys. I have 2 books. Both I've been super excited for. The Library of Shadows by Rachel Moore. This is supposed to be, this is so shiny. It's like photo paper. This is a YA dark academia that is paranormal as well. It just got released. I pre-ordered this book because I had a feeling I was really going to enjoy it. So this takes place at Radcliffe Prep. It's the 3rd most haunted school in the country, where student disappearances aren't uncommon and no one dares to stay in the library after dark. Well, that's where Este Logano enrolls with the hopes of finding her dead father. Not literally, of course. She doesn't believe in ghosts. Going to her dad's school just seems like her best hope to figuring out who he was. But then Este meets Mateo, who is maybe, probably, definitely a real ghost. It sounds so good. It sounds like the perfect balance of like dark academia and spooky. So I wanted to read this in September because I have a feeling it would be a really good spooky read for October as well. And I wanted to be able to like read it and recommend it to y'all. So we have Library of Shadows. Oh my gosh, I'm so excited to read this book. Then we have Blood and Steel by Helen Schurer. I don't know if that's how you say her name. But I read Slaying the Shadow Prince by Helen recently and went absolutely feral. And that book was a standalone fantasy romance that took place in this world, in her Legends of Thesmar series. So I'm excited to get into the actual like meat and potatoes of the book, of the series, because I really liked the world that was in Slaying the Shadow Prince. I've heard that this has tropes that I'm absolutely obsessed with. I can't wait to read it. The only thing is, I don't know if I'm gonna be able to read it this month in September. I kind of want to hold out and have this book be an option for the Who Did This To book club for October, because although it might not be like spooky, I don't know what our vibes are gonna be for October, if we want like a spooky supernatural being romance, like a vampire, werewolf, something like that, or if we would just want to read a super juicy, fun fantasy romance. And I fell in love with Helen Shurer's romances and like writing style just from that one book, and I've been dying to read her backlist. So Blood and Steel. Also, the second book in the series comes out, I think, some point in September. It might be in the next month or two, but I remember seeing, I was gonna order both of them at once, and then I saw that the second book hasn't been released yet, but it comes out very soon. So besties, I just finished I Feed the Beast and the Beast Is Me. I'm trying to decide what I want to rate it, but first I'll talk through some of my thoughts. So I loved this book. I thought it was incredible, even though I am not someone who's well versed in all of the intricacies and the lingo of ballet. I could still really appreciate this writing style because it was really interesting. Every scene, even if it wasn't a ballet scene specifically, or an audition or a practice, even scenes where she was interacting with the other characters, it was like our main character was describing a performance. But it really helped to create a unique writing style for this author in this specific story, and it really helped to keep that theme of everything is a performance. And I think with ballet, a lot of times the lines get blurred, right? Because you have your fellow ballerinas, but none of them were ever really friends. It was always a competition on or off stage, in or out of the ballet studio. It's just a constant cutthroat, judgmental, difficult environment to be in. And so the fact that that description of everything being a performance, even outside of those scenes where they were truly practicing ballet, helped to reinforce that point. Very, very well done, very, very well written. I think this is a book where if you wanted to just enjoy the story of like a thriller horror type book, you can do that. But also, if you wanted to really dissect this book and dig a lot more into the themes that are discussed, it's also a book where you can do that as well. The only thing that was off for me, and I did start to lose a little bit of interest after the halfway point, I think the most difficult section of this book for me was like 50 to 75%. That quarter of the book was tough because it started to feel very repetitive, and it didn't feel like anything new was being added to the story. It was just experiencing our character's adjustment to dealing with this kind of possession almost. Like, she was never fully possessed by this dark energy, by this entity that was influencing her and giving her this power after she made the deal. But it kind of lent itself to it. Overall, I think it's a super unique story, but like I mentioned, after the halfway point, I think the pacing for me started to get a little bit off, and this was a book that I was really hoping would get weird. I love a horror where things start off normal, and then as the character gets deeper and deeper into this possession, this darkness, things just start getting crazier and crazier. I wanted it to get like Otessa Moshfegh weird, and it just didn't go there. Or like a Mona Awad weird. Oh my gosh, if Mona Awad wrote this story, it would be like one of my favorite books of all time. Now I want like a weird demonic possession ballet story giving Black Swan from Mona Awad. That just sounds so amazing. But anyways, I think I'm gonna give it a 4-star because nothing is wrong with this book. It is so good. It's so interesting. It's so unique. It's very creative. I think it's a great one for spooky season as well if you want a mystery horror, a YA mystery horror to spice up your TBR. I think this is a great one to pick. I'm still not ready to give an update on Guardians of the Dawn Zara quite yet because I'm literally loving it so much, but I feel like I haven't read a large enough portion to give another update on it. I'm still very much in the beginning. I think I'm at the 100-page mark, but I'm going to read more of it today. This is like the third time I've filmed this clip because I don't know how I want to give this update for Zara, but I have some reading updates. Okay, I'm halfway through Zara. The reason why I wanted to wait until I got a good portion of the way through this book before I gave an official update is because I'm loving this book so much, and sometimes when I get really excited about a book, I jump the gun and I say, oh my gosh, I love it so much, it's so good, blah, 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 and then I get to a point in the book, or maybe like past the halfway point or whatever it is, and I'm like, there's some things that I'm running into that now like aren't as great or whatever it is, something that's impacting my reading experience. But safe to say that with Zara, I have nary a complaint. I love this so much, and I don't know where to start, and I don't know how much I want to talk about because I don't want to like give anything away. I'll start with the similarities to Sailor Moon. The scenes are so easy to picture in your head. Especially, we've gotten, I think, just one battle scene or like fighting scene, and it was so intense, it was so good, and I was literally picturing Sailor Moon the anime in my head, except make it the Zara characters and the Zara monster that they were fighting. So good. Also, Zara has a cat whose name I think you pronounce Saja, but I'm not positive. She has this little kitty cat that follows her around, and it's really funny because no one in the book has mentioned that this cat seems to be more intelligent than your normal cat, and Sailor Moon, if you know, has her little kitty cat with a little black cat that has a moon on its forehead that helps her out throughout the show. That is a talking cat and is very much guiding her and helping her and giving her advice because Sailor Moon is all over the place. Zara has maybe a better, more clear head on her shoulders than Sailor Moon does. Sailor Moon is very lazy, crazy, sporadic, like all of these things. Zara is a little bit more level-headed, we'll say, than a Sailor Moon. And also, Zara's transformation isn't instant. I mean, in the anime Sailor Moon, when she finds out that she is one of these almost like superhero guardians of the universe, her transformation is instant, and she gets her beautiful, lovely, like sailor outfit and all of those things, and it's super cute, and there's an instant transformation. There is no instant transformation in this book. It's much more gradual, like your typical story is. So Zara, she's had to deal with her magic coming out in spurts here and there. It's uncontrollable for her. She's never had anyone to ask about it, to guide her, anything. She just knows that she has to suppress her magic as much as possible or she will be executed. The same corruption is starting to happen again, where people who have access to magic, magicians, are turning into these demon, abomination, monster creatures, and they are causing havoc and chaos. So Zara is finding out that she was meant to be in the Guardians of the Dawn. The Guardians of the Dawn are those who fight against the evil in the world. To keep it very, very simple, this book is very, very much giving light warriors against darkness and demons. So there is that parallel to Sailor Moon as well. However, even though that sounds like it's pretty serious, like a battle against light and darkness, this book is so playful and fun. The group that Zara has found throughout this process, other people whose journeys align with finding the Guardians of the Dawn, figuring out who they are and how they can help. They're so fun and joking and flirty. It's just absolutely incredible. I'm hesitant to call it a found family quite yet because I don't know if it's to that extent, but we do have a really fun friend group. It's a 5-star prediction for me. I'm having so much fun with this. This does say the first book in the Guardians of the Dawn series, and there are 3 more untitled books under the more in this series section. So that's the update for now for Zara. The other update that I have for you, I started listening to Vicious. So Vicious is about our 2 main characters, Victor and Eli. They start out as college roommates and they are very, very big-brained. Like, we meet them as they're starting their thesis project to graduate college or university. They're both, it seems like, in scientific fields. One of them is researching adrenaline. The other one is researching EOs, or extraordinary beings. So he's looking into near-death experiences, and he's theorizing that the people who experience near-death experiences actually become, I don't want to say superhuman, but like something alters their existence and they become something else, I guess we could say. That being said, even though there is a focus absolutely on more like scientific initiatives, it's not difficult to read. It's not, you know, diving into super sci-fi topics or anything like that. I am not a sci-fi girly, so at first I got a little bit scared, and then I was like, oh no, this is still fine. And V.E. Schwab creates such realistic and fun characters to read about, even though I've heard these books, Vicious and Vengeful, pitched as like villain origin story. Right now I'm only on chapter 9. But I should be able to listen to it while I work today, so. Happy Friday. I have a little bit of a reading update with Vicious because this morning I needed to clean the entire house and then also decorate a little bit for spooky season. I mean, I've had my Halloween jack-o'-lantern blanket out for at least a month at this point, but I put out my spooky mugs. I put out this little sign that Ross got for us like 2 years ago for our entryway table, and it's starting to feel spooky. I took out some of my fall candles because I usually like cycle through different seasonal candles, so I still had a massive pumpkin harvest one or something like that. So we're starting to get decorated for autumn and I absolutely love it. And all the while I was listening to Vicious on my audiobook, so I am more than halfway through. I think I'm at the 60% mark. I'm glad that I listened to a really big portion of this today because after yesterday I had listened to about a third. So today I've listened to another third. And I wasn't loving it yesterday. I was like, maybe this is a right book, wrong time type of moment because I found myself not super interested in what was going on. However, today where I listened to with what's going on in the story, I think I'm much more intrigued. So one thing that was a little bit confusing for me from the very beginning when they're talking about what their thesis was going to be and exploring adrenaline and near-death experiences and having these people become extraordinary beings. That's how they say it in the audiobook as well. I know that it's extraordinary, but they call it like extraordinary. To me, I was like, why would a college professor at any type of prestigious scientific program say, yeah, you can study like these superhero slash, they have like extraordinary powers that normal humans don't? Like, why would a professor be like, yeah, go for it, that's super believable. That was a little bit difficult for me to wrap my head around in the beginning. However, we've learned that in this world, it's a known thing that some people are extraordinary beings, and the cause of it was a little bit questionable until our main characters, Eli and Victor, started to explore that a little bit more, and they were like, let's try to make one. Victor's idea was, let's try to make or become extraordinary beings so that we can test our theory. That's where the story really takes off. There's a very interesting conversation being woven into the story, kind of like commentary on religion versus science. That's really been quite intriguing, and I wasn't expecting that from this duology, but V.E. Schwab is really taking into consideration and constantly bringing up in a very well thought out way. Eli is religious. Victor doesn't believe in religion. He doesn't have the same religious beliefs as Eli, at the very least. It's very interesting because I don't think any of the characters that we've met have had a moral compass. Like, every character in this book is morally gray. Trigger warnings for a lot of self-harm in this book. It is quite graphic, especially in the beginning, because in order to become an extraordinary being, you basically have to die. The thing that I'm really struggling with today is this new cozy game called Fae Farm came out. What I could do is play Fae Farm and just listen to the rest of the audiobook for Vicious, but I know that I'm gonna play Fae Farm for the rest of the day if I buy it. And I haven't read any more of Zara. Last night, after I logged off of work, I really just wanted like a mush session, so I watched TikToks, I watched some Twitch streamers. I need to hold myself accountable to read at least a portion of this. My goal would be 90 to 100 pages. Hi besties, please excuse the jump scare. I know that we're looking a little bit rough. I woke up this morning with the headache that wouldn't quit, and I still wanted to get some reading done, so I was just like laying in my room with my eye mask on that has speakers in it, and I was listening to the end of Vicious. Y'all, I really just don't think that this book is for me. Maybe if I were younger, I would have liked this book more. I felt like the characters, all of the characters, were so extremely one-dimensional. It made them like unrealistic. I do understand that they all had superpowers, and so that was kind of impacting their humanity in a lot of ways, but I found myself just asking, like, would a real person ever act like this? Like, their lack of emotional depth was shocking. I didn't feel any type of attachment to the characters. I just didn't care. And the entire plot, the entire meat and potatoes of the story is like Victor versus Eli. And so in my opinion, if you aren't invested in the characters, if you just don't care about the characters, you're not gonna like this story, because not only were the characters extremely one-dimensional, the plot was extremely one-dimensional. So I'm really struggling. I, on Goodreads, gave this book 3 stars. In reality, my enjoyment level was like a 1.5 or a 2 star. I really didn't like this. And by like the 50% mark, I kind of was dwindling in my interest. And once I got to 70%, I was like, is it worth it to just finish this? But I'm trying to be better about not DNFing books, because I am a notorious DNFer. The past couple of books that I've tried it with, it's worked out where I have actually liked it more when I stuck through it. This one, unfortunately, was not the case. I think I will be unhauling the duology on my Pango, so if you're interested in not only Vicious and Vengeful, I think I have like 20 books listed on my Pango. I always have that linked in the description box. I did read a little bit more of Zara today. I only have a little over 100 pages left, so I'm gonna sit down, I'm gonna take JMO outside, his ears just perked up. And then I'm going to sit down and finish Zara, and I will give you some final thoughts on this beautiful book. I'm loving this so much. I won't give another update until I hit the end, because we've gotten a lot of plot developments. The one critique that I would have of this book so far is that, at least in the last portion that I read, which was 15 to 20%, some of the reveals in this, you're like, how did this character not put 2 and 2 together? Like, I don't understand. But at the same time, the characters that are in this book are 17 years old. So I am giving them a little bit of wiggle room. I'm loving it so much. I will give you my final thoughts once I finish in a little bit. Okay, I've just finished Zara, and I'm here to give my final thoughts. I'm laughing because I literally had so much fun reading this book, and I'm so happy that I decided to pick this up this week. I'm gonna give this 5 stars. I loved it. Was the writing perfect? No, especially the ending. So I loved the ending where like the true ending of the book stopped. I thought it was so impactful. It really came, not full circle, I guess that's not the right word, but the character arc and where Zara started the book from where she ended the book, I absolutely loved it so much. However, my one critique of the book is that there was an epilogue, and in the epilogue ending, I'm never a fan of an epilogue, but this one, there was still story being explained in the epilogue, which it feels a little bit like an immature writing style, because if you need to explain details that you couldn't fit in the book otherwise, just save it for the next book. But I feel like those details were important in terms of like relevance to where the next book is going to start, and so I just didn't love that part of it. I feel like if we had ended the book at the last official chapter, it would have been like, it would have been much more impactful. I feel like epilogues tend to take away the impactfulness of an ending. The way that love develops in this, the way that, not just romantic love, but like friendship love, and the way that they helped each other during some of their weakest moments, I really, really enjoyed. I love the dynamic between the demons and how the demons seem very, very OP right now, and the mother of 10,000 demons seems very OP. Like, the odds are definitely stacked against our heroes, which I love. This was a reading week of a lot of ups and downs, but I'm so happy, so happy that I ended it on a strong note. I hope that you enjoyed watching this vlog, friends. If you did, please be sure to give it a big thumbs up. If you've made it this far, please put a flower emoji in the comments down below to honor Zara and her beautiful flower cover, because we just love her so much. I will catch you in the comments, and I will see you in my next one, friends. Bye!